Hello there, all my wonderful aviators. RandomEd787 here. So today I wanted to talk about the Sim Update 3 beta and what I think of it so far. It's been out for a few weeks, so let's go ahead and dive right in. I'll go ahead and start off by saying that this update might be looking promising. It's going pretty well, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. We're still in the beta and quite a ways off from the full release. So let's go ahead and talk about the improvements that I'm seeing so far. So let's start off with the boot times. They are dramatically faster, even more than Sim Update 2. And I was even saying Sim Update 2's boot times are way faster, but with this one, it's even better. The Cessna Caravan, that wobble that you get when you're on nav mode or heading mode, is practically gone. The plane is perfectly flyable now, so I'm glad that's fixed. The PC-12 oxygen system is still buggy. You'll still get the warning about cabin pressure, but you don't get the instant failure anymore. So my guess is that Azobo just disabled the automatic failure while they continue to fix it. And performance at large, dense airports is still really good. Now, keep in mind, I do use frame generation, but it definitely does run really stable. In fact, I could argue it potentially has been improved even a little bit more. Maybe, I don't know if it's just me, but I can, go into all these dense airports in the US and the sim performs perfectly fine. In fact, when it comes to that main issue I've been having is when I try to load into an airport, I'll get an instant crash to desktop. I've only done this with US airports. I haven't tested it that much on other areas of the world, like in Europe, but when I tried it with the US just recently, I was switching to different planes and different airports trying to get this sim to crash. I couldn't do it, and I probably did it like a good maybe 10, maybe 15 times, I don't know, but, I loaded into many different airports, started switching planes, could not get the game to crash, so I think this is starting to become more of an actual airport issue rather than a sim issue. So it's good to see that this is being improved. Okay, now let's talk about some problems that I've ran into so far and that are still kind of an issue. So let's start off with some of the bugs that I've been encountering. Let's start with the EFB. The main issue that I'm having with it is that just moving around on the map, the thing is just very stuttery, very laggy, and it just kind of loses its mind if you, zoom out too much and you, go to other areas on the map and everything like that. It just, I don't know, it feels very unstable. But it is still, a vital tool, and I do still use it. I like to use it a lot, mainly just to get information at airports. But it really does need improvements in stability. Because the thing is just too stuttery and laggy for me to, really be in love with it, so I hope that gets improved more. Now let's talk about the Boeing 737 MAX from Azobo. And the reason why I'm going to put a big focus on this one is because it's really the only airliner that you can use for passenger transport. And the thing is, I really, really want to love this plane. But, oh boy, it's got issues, mainly in terms of performance. The thing can be a stuttery, low frame rate mess. And the thing is, it is a very detailed plane. I really do love flying this thing, but the performance is just a huge issue. And plus, I'm still not a big fan of how the plane feels to control. It just feels very sluggish. Sluggish, like a wet sponge, like from the movie Airplane. So I had to make a reference there. So I really hope Azobo keeps improving this, because I think their 737 MAX has insane potential, but it really needs a lot of work. And I hope that we get the AnyBuilds A320 or something, a nice short haul aircraft for airline transport, because the 737 MAX, it just isn't cutting it, and it really needs improvements. This next issue seems to be getting better, but it's not quite there. And that's when I open the camera menu, I can get an instant crash to desktop. This seems to only be happening now, if I try to load into Charles de Gaulle Airport, that is, if it doesn't crash. there's some problems with Charles de Gaulle in France right now. This is the only airport, I think, that crashes when I try to load into it. But also, if I do load into it and I try to open up the camera menu, the game will just crash. I've been trying to test this out in career mode and free flight, and most planes that I've been flying or airports I've been flying into, I haven't gotten the sim to crash. So it might be an airport-specific issue, and it seems like it is getting better, but just thought I'd throw that in there. As for crash to desktops when playing the sim, I only had a few. I did have one that I can remember from recent memory, is that I had a crash to desktop on a long-haul flight with the Boeing 777-300ER, but that was before, I think, some of the new patches that recently came out. I'm still testing this for long-haul flights to make sure the sim doesn't crash, but I've been doing free flight in career mode. Most of the time, the sim is not crashing, so it is pretty stable, like the vast majority of the time. Alright, now let's talk about career mode, and I'll go ahead and be honest, it is improving. It's not quite there yet, but I am seeing improvements. The main issue, though, I am having with it is still ATC. They can still be insanely frustrating to deal with. I think I have seen one improvement, and this is not something that breaks the experience, but sometimes, I'll have ATC talk over me too early when I'm trying to respond to a transmission, and they'll just, the dialogue, like, overlaps each other. But lately, I haven't noticed this too much, and I think it's starting to get fixed. However, the one issue that is still kind of persistent is when it comes to descending. ATC just can't make up its mind. So, for example, I'll be descending from my cruising altitude. They'll tell me, hey, descend down to 3,000 feet. Okay, I'm descending to 3,000 feet. As soon as I get there, they tell me, okay, climb back up to your cruising altitude. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how much this frustrates me. And here's my guess as to why that's happening. They're probably asking you to descend too early, and then it tries to correct itself, I guess. I don't know. That's my guess. But when it comes to the whole descend portion of ATC, that's where we need to start seeing improvements. But at least they're telling you to descend now, and it seems to kind of be at the right time. But it's, like I said, ATC, when it comes to the top of descent portion, it still needs fixing. Another aspect of career mode that's been driving me crazy, but I think is starting to improve, is the fact that sometimes the taxi instructions will have you go to one portion of the runway or the middle of the runway and have you turn around and make a U-turn at the other end of the runway. That would just drive me absolutely crazy. But lately, I haven't noticed it. I can't say for sure if it's been fixed, but it's not happening quite as frequently. When it comes to the issue of not having enough fuel for your flights, the good thing is now you can add it with the EFB. You can add more fuel if you want, and I think you can do it sometimes even when you're in flight. But still, I just wish that we could get, like, maybe a performance calculator or something like that to give us the right amount of fuel, because this is especially crucial when you're flying airliners. If you have too much fuel or too little fuel, it's going to make a huge difference into the aircraft's performance and how it lands. So I hope this keeps getting tweaked a little bit more, but I'm glad we're still able to do it with the EFB now. Jumping back to the 737 MAX a little bit, but I don't think this is a 737 MAX specific issue. But after I landed, and this was well after it, I was like going onto the taxiway, all of a sudden I get a random tire malfunction. And I wasn't able to steer the plane at all, and I had to skip the shutdown to complete the mission. Yeah, that was pretty damn frustrating. And like I said, that this may have actually been fixed. If you look at these patch notes here, or this specific patch note, it says, failure, wear and tear, improved drift damage calculation to ensure that the drift damage is light at low speed, but much higher at high speed. This should prevent it from triggering during taxi, but still impact the wear rate on landing. So I'm going to keep testing this out a little more and to make sure it doesn't happen again, hopefully. And lastly, this next issue, this is something that I hope is fixed really quickly, because this is very frustrating. It doesn't break the game, but really kills my immersion. So this is, I think, only I've noticed something with the passenger transport missions. So as soon as I start it and wait for the go-ahead to let passengers board, it literally just skips all of that and just goes straight to the taxi portion with all the engines started, everything. I don't want that. I want to do everything by the book. I want to go by the checklist. I don't know why this is happening. There's some occasions where it won't happen, but it can still happen. This needs to definitely be fixed quick, because this kills the experience for me. I know it's not game-breaking, but I want this fixed. Alright, now let's get to my final thoughts on this. So, as you can see, I have definitely ran into some issues. I mean, it is a beta after all. But I gotta be honest, out of all the betas that I've done, well, just 2. So, I gotta be honest, guys. This one is maybe looking promising. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because, you know, I want to be very careful when I say I'm gonna start recommending this game. I'm not quite there yet, but if we keep getting improvements with this beta, and if all those issues that I mentioned get tweaked and fixed, we could be looking at the biggest improvement to this game, and it could be very close to worth picking up. So, but like I said, I'm not there yet, but this beta seems promising. So, now I want to hear from you guys. What has your experience been like with the Sim Update 3 beta? I want to know everything in the comments below. Has it been a great experience for you? Has it been terrible? Let's get the conversation going. And guys, be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you want to see more. And until the next video, my fellow aviators, peace out and happy flying.